Esteban Ocon, who is vying with McLaren for the title of the best of the rest, claims that Mercedes is Alpine's next goal, but acknowledges that the A522 is not there at the moment. Hello and welcome back to our channel. In this episode today, we will be covering how F1 is helping Alpine target against Mercedes. Alpine has pulled within 8 points of McLaren in the battle for best of the rest in the Constructors Championship following back-to-back double points victories in Baku and Montreal. It's a feat that shouldn't be undervalued, even though Ocon is already concentrating on Mercedes in the third place finish in the standings. That, though, is still far off in terms of points and off course. Ocon beat Russell in the qualifying for the Canadian Grand Prix, but Russell won the race as both Mercedes finished ahead of the Alpine teammates. At this weekend's British Grand Prix, Alpine will upgrade their 2022 vehicle. The new package is reported to be significant. According to Toby Gruner of Automotor and Sport, the Alpine package will come with a new floor to Silverstone. Wind tunnel and CFD results indicate that it should offer a respectable step. We typically get quite a few updates, so this should be a positive move for us, said Ocon. Therefore, high hopes. There will be a lot of work ahead since this week, which begins on Tuesday in the simulator, will be busy. And yes, hopefully we can succeed because the car is in proper place. It is quite energizing, he continued, and the crew is moving quickly and receiving its upgrades earlier than anticipated, rather than at the scheduled time. And it's moving in the right direction. It's delivering. We have improved more than many other teams, in my opinion, since the start of the year. Therefore, we can be happy because things are moving in the correct path. Alpine is quickly establishing itself as a regular at the front of the fight behind Formula 1's top 3 teams, and is occasionally even in striking distance of Mercedes. This season, Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon have continued to score points and occasionally put on very outstanding performances, thanks to a pretty intense development push that has produced the form. Ocon's top 5 finish in Austria and Alonso's surge from the back of the grid that may have put him in 6th place are examples of the A52's potential and have raised hopes for the upcoming races. A new rear wing, which has improved upon the selection of 4 different downforce alternative it has run already this season, contributed to the speed at the Red Bull Ring. It appears that this new style falls between the previous model's medium and high downforce options. Alpine may have achieved significant advancements given that it has picked yet another version, especially when the many iterations are coupled with the beam wing. Alpine chose a deeper core section and a shallower outer portion, as opposed to the flatter main plane shape it had previously preferred. Additionally, as a result of this, the upper flap and end plate transitions outer section has been modified, significantly changing the cutout. Alpine has also joined Alfa Romeo in using a teardrop-shaped DRS pivot, which, like that of its competitor, has a piece of the pivot installed on the flip side, indicating that a shut line passes through it. This implies that some of the teardrop-shaped pivots lifts up along with the flap when DRS is deployed. For the prior race at Silverstone, Alpine had a significant improvement package available, the centerpiece of which was a revamp of its side pod bodywork. The undercut has been deepened at the front of the side pod, as the bodywork has been wrapped even more tightly than before. The bathtub-like upper surface crevice that Ferrari has used on the F175 since the season's beginning has been adopted by the side pod's upper bodywork. Comparing the configuration at the last 2 races reveals that Alpine has added a little more adaptability to the cooling gills. In contrast to the Red Bull Ring, it used gills at Silverstone that follows the contours of the upper surface of the side pod crevice. The panel has additional holes to dissipate the heat generated inside, and it is positioned higher on the rounded shoulder above. Red Bull also came to Austria with a number of fresh components that he thought would expand the operational range of the vehicle. This follows major changes of the RB18's bodywork configuration that the team already made at Silverstone. That was mostly concentrated around a new engine cover that generates a shelf and modifies the behavior of the airflow as it flows over it toward the cooling outlet and below it into the area surrounding the Coke bottle. In order to help the engine, cover spine reject heat produced within. The team modified for Austria by removing a portion of the bodywork. Although it is a workable option, teams like Alpine and Haas already have designs that are very comparable, indicating that Red Bull may have taken design cues from its competitors. To enhance performance across a range of ride heights, the team also made changes of the innermost floor fence, removing some of the material from the lowest portion. Its front brake disc fairing was also modified, adding to the vast list of improvements the team has previously made to this part of this season. The team is keen to maintain control over the airflow and heat rejection because the fairing, which separates the brake disc from the inner brake drum's huge volume, has an effect on both. The air going through the component must now exit a rear-facing outlet positioned on the inside of the brake duct's fence due to restrictions set by the laws of 2022. This was put in place to stop teams from dumping airflow out through the wheel face and undo the effort done to limit the amount of outwash that the teams are able to produce, which was a big development emphasis for them in the previous regulatory regime. The following teams progress from left to right, it can be seen that this time the fairing's shape was changed and that extra insulation was no longer required. To achieve this, a heat-resistant coating has been used, and the caliper surface as well as the disc fairing have both received surface treatments. The form of the fairing was again altered for Austria, with the upper corner extended to provide additional support for heat management and airflow around the disc. Another intriguing advancement was discovered on the Aston Martin AMR22 during the British Grand Prix, which its opponents will probably study. The team put a number of tiny winglets to the inner fence of the rear brake duct as part of a rather significant modification in its home race. These winglets will generate a local load of their own and change the direction of the airflow when it's gathered between the fence and the sidewall of the tire. As we're about to conclude the video, let me share my opinion. Mercedes has 237 points while Alpine has 81. A motorsport.com journalist is required to claim that Alpine is competitive with Mercedes. Alpine is a long way from their desired outcome. They're located where they have been for a while and will remain for a long time. But in order to claim that the races aren't closer, you must also be able to deny the existence of the races or fail to comprehend it. Alpine was far behind the competition at the beginning of the season, but for some reason, each update applied to the vehicle improved its performance. They are actually closing the gap with MB as the fourth team. Examine Alonso's qualifications and results without the unlucky streak. If not for several mechanical problems, tire problems, etc., the points would be closer. At the same time, they're improving even though they're still far from the MB. McLaren is somewhat track dependent, whining occasionally and fading badly at others. Haas appears to be only battling the setup. The car is quite nice once they get it right, but they're getting it right more frequently. With their most recent upgrade, Aston Martin's gain lost ground. Drivers are unable to push the vehicle in qualifying since SS, and even though it has speed on race day, they managed to qualify in the rear, making the battle against balanced lots an arduous one. Williams' update appears to be benefiting the car greatly, and if they had two excellent drivers, their results would be greater. Latifi seems completely out of place in the 2022 automobile. I'm sorry to say. His best performance in the rain was an SS, so he may not have had the confidence to push it to the limit. In the rain, people generally drive more cautiously and at lower speeds. Do let us know your opinion in the comment box, and do not forget to like, share the video, and subscribe to our channel for more of such videos.